good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of On the Money with a Certified Financial Group right here on News 96.5 WDBO. It's all part of our Ask the Experts weekend. We've got the Certified Financial Planner Professionals, the Certified Financial Group right here in the studio. Taking your phone calls today at 844-220-0965. Of course, we've got the Oracle of Orlando, Joe Burt, and we also have Gary Abley. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Additionally, around the corner here from us is Rodney Ownby.
Rodney's here today.
Rodney is here.
All
CPA,
right.
CFP, the newest member of the Certified Financial Group team. We're glad to have him here as well. So you got the full show here today, folks.
Well, CPA, that rings music to my ears, and anybody trying to finish their taxes this time of year. Any questions? And, of course, with the new tax code for 2018, a lot of questions popping up here and there. So I'm glad, Rodney, you are here today. But, Joe, not only can you ask that on the panel today, what else can we call you about?
Well, Rodney, let me back up here. Rodney, Gary, and I are here this morning to answer any questions that might be on your mind regarding your personal finances. As we say, we go through life trying some of this, trying some of that, and wake up at 50 years old and find out, we've got to get serious about this. And they don't teach us this stuff in school. And that's the real tragedy in our we see folks coming into our office from all walks of life, from CEOs to school teachers and everybody in between that think they're doing okay, hope they're doing okay, and they find out they're really not doing so well or need to do some tune-up and so on and so forth. And that's what we do at Certified Financial Group. We do financial planning for a fee. We charge our clients for the plan that we do. We also do investment management for a fee. And we have a stable of 11 certified financial planners. And we collaborate every Tuesday, right, Gary?
That's right.
We get together and talk about what's going on, what we've learned, what our clients are telling us, what we're seeing out there, the adjustments that we want to make. And collectively, we have about 300 years of combined experience at Certified Financial Group. But the good news for you this morning is we are here to take your calls. Any questions you might have regarding stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate, long-term health care, IRAs, annuities, life insurance, reverse mortgages, all that and more, we are here. And we're also on Facebook Live.
Okay.
So how do they do that, Kyle?
Oh, I think they go to facebook.com/certified financial group. Is that right?
That's it.
All right. Facebook.com/certified financial group. Just like that.
See, we have
topic for today.
What topic? You want to do the call or the topic?
Well, I haven't screened the call yet today, and that's why, Joe Bird, you've been doing this for so long. When the caller is lit up and it is green, that means it's ready to go on the air. And what color is the caller on the air?
The caller is yellow.
All right,
that
Joe.
That means it's not ready. So
hang on
there.
Woo, deep breath. All right. I know Joe gets so excited to talk to you.
Well, we want to talk to our listeners.
And he does. He wants to talk to you. I know he gets so
hang on.
You saw him get excited. So go ahead and give us a call. 844-220-0965. 844-220-0965. We also have the text machine. He does have the text machine in front of him as well. 21232. Well, while we start getting some of our questions lined up here, topic for today, Gary Abley, how much should you weigh international stock mutual funds in your portfolio?
And that's a great question. And I think if we had 11 of us in our Tuesday planner meeting and we were all trying to make a call on what we thought was the right percentage, we probably would have 11 different answers, or they'd be close in a certain range, right? But certainly this is an area where there's a lot of disagreement. Recently, Vanguard came into our office and kind of shared their knowledge base with us and their forecasting, and kind of interesting, their global forecast for the next decade for equities is only around 5.5%. So I think that's one important thing to for our listeners to understand as we are toward the end of a business cycle. And sometimes, equities are going to retract a little bit. We've seen that in the fourth quarter with the estimation that we're going to have a slowdown here in the next year or two. But the question, are we going to have, or what percentage should we have in international, specifically non-U.S. stocks? Right now, Vanguard is recommending a range of 20 to 40%. They're suggesting if you want, the more diversification you want, the higher the percentage. And I think all of us at the office have really kind of scrutinized that advice. And, we just went to a J.P. Morgan conference, and they're also suggesting a little over-allocation on the international side will pay dividends for the long haul. So I asked this question really for the three of us, Rodney, Joe, and I, to kind of talk about that. I know in the models that I use, I'm closer to the 15% range.
Right.
And, one of the things I said to Vanguard is, kind of show me the money. When I'm looking at rolling 10, 20-year returns, we just haven't seen international outperform the U.S., meaning it's been tough to bet against the U.S.
But the valuation's a little bit better on the international stuff right now.
They are, but you can also argue maybe for a reason.
Well, that's right.
Yep.
You want to buy low and sell high, and the valuations are probably in the long run, probably a little bit more upside opportunity with the international. But this is where the good stock picker that the mutual fund managers come into play, unless you're using the index. And as you know, the funds that we use, the managers that we use, that's their expertise of spending time doing due diligence on those companies, some of which are very, no pun intended, foreign to us. Names that you and I have never heard of.
Exactly.
But they have a specialty in the things that they're doing, and this is where the good stock pickers and the good mutual funds come into play.
Well, and I know Joe forwarded an email around that discussed GDP growth of the various countries going forward, estimates, of course, going forward. And why I didn't like it, because it showed U.S. at number 3 in a few decades. I wonder if our listeners would guess who will outpace us. Of course, China is forecasted to be number 1.
Right.
What's that middle country? I know you know this, Rodney. What is it?
It's India.
That's right. Yeah. So I've forgotten the percentage, but it's a very low percentage of the population of India actually use checking accounts today.
Yes, that is a huge market and one that has a lot of upside potential if you get in on the ground floor.
Right.
Be the Uber of India.
Right.
How about that?
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
The Uber of India.
Well, yeah. I mean, we think of all the things that we do in this country we take for granted, but these countries that are underdeveloped at the moment, China and India specifically, there's huge opportunities there, but there's also high risk. But this is where the good mutual fund managers that have boots on the ground in those countries, speak the language, understand the complexities of doing business in those countries, understand currencies that make the difference in the long run. And the strength that we bring to the table for our clients is seeking out those managers, of finding those funds. Our strength is doing the due diligence on those managers.
That's right.
And finding the best mutual funds to plug into our clients' portfolios to have that international exposure.
All right.
That's what we do.
I'm going to have to look out for the Uber of India now. The Oracle of Orlando has told me to do that. 844-220-0965, the number to dial us up here this morning. 844-220-0965. Cleve in Orlando has done just that. Cleve, go ahead.
Good morning,
You're on
Cleve.
the Certified Financial Group.
Hey, I have another question about Social Security. I understand that at a certain age, my wife could start drawing half of my Social Security and let hers continue to grow.
Right.
Is that correct?
Right. That's depending on your age. When you start, correct me if I'm wrong here, Gary, but if he's 66 and you, how old what are you all both the same age?
She's 3 months older, but we'll both be 65 in 2 years, and she wants to retire. So, so she can't do that till 66?
No.
She can retire when she wants, of course, but when you start taking Social Security at full retirement age, she is then able to take half of your benefit.
Okay. Now, if she starts drawing half of mine, I'm not going to start drawing at 65. If she starts drawing half of mine at 65, and then when I start drawing a couple of years later.
Yep, can't do that. So
can't do that.
She can't start drawing half of yours unless you're drawing the benefits currently.
Well, he can file, right? File and suspend.
Well, depending on the age.
Right, but they're in that age bracket where I think he could do that because he's 65
Okay,
now.
so she can't draw half of mine unless I'm already drawing.
Unless you filed.
Unless you have filed, and depending on your specific age, you could file and suspend,
Yes.
but it depends on your birthday.
And if she was born before January 1st, 1954, then she would qualify for that, as I recall.
No, she was born in 55.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, that may not work.
I think you've missed the deadline.
Yes.
So, in other words, for her to get half of yours, not only would you have to file, you would actually have to be receiving the benefits.
Okay. And just for my information, if we did that, no, never mind. You answered everything I needed to know.
All right.
All right.
All right, Cleve.
Thank you for calling, Cleve.
Appreciate the call.
All right. If you want Cleve's line, it's 844-220-0965. That's 844-220-0965. Yeah, a couple of different Social Security questions about that. what happens, and then what if, and what happens if they get divorced and she's no longer able to draw from his Social Security, right?
Well, if she hasn't remarried and they were married for at least 10 years, then she can, in fact, collect on his benefit.
Oh.
So she would get what's called a spousal benefit. So she would be able to get her benefit plus an incremental amount if half of his benefit would be more than her benefit. Did I say that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Wow.
It's a confusing. So one of the things that, and I think that would be helpful to our listeners, we have this great software package because honestly, we have to know the dates, specific dates of birth. We have to know how long were you married, are you remarried? And so what we do is we utilize a software package called Social Security Analyzer. And that's one of the things that when we have people come and visit our office, we do that. We ask them to bring in their benefit statement. And that's one of the first things I do in the meeting because the Social Security claiming strategy is really an important one. And I usually say for those who are healthy and can afford, they're better off deferring until a later age because how much do you get additionally, Ronnie, each year that you defer?
8%.
That's right. 8% more each year that you elect to defer.
Plus cost of living.
That's a good point. Plus cost of living.
So this year's a 10% plus.
That's right.
Not
so,
bad.
a lot of people will say, well, I don't know if I'm going to live that long. And it's like, well, are you healthy now? You look at the data. It's unbelievable. What is it, a 1 in 4 chance that one person in a couple age 65 will live to 97, I believe it is.
Yep.
97.
Yeah, 50-50 that one person will live to 92.
Wow.
So you look at that and you say,
92.
I'd much rather get the extra 32% by deferring from 66 to 70 and have that money, as Joe mentioned, compounded. I mean, that's a huge advantage. Once you get beyond the mid to late 80s, you're making money, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yes,
typically the break-even.
the break-even point.
Yep.
And so what we do is when we do financial planning, we look at the pros and cons of taking that Social Security early. And unfortunately, in times past, until all these strategies became known, people used to run and grab that Social Security first chance they got. They want that free money, not realizing what they're giving up. And the important thing is in married couples, is the spouse, if their benefit is less, takes over the higher benefit. So it's what we call longevity insurance.
Yep.
So your husband and wife, they're both getting Social Security. Generally, he'll pass away first. If her benefit is lower, she will take his benefit, which is higher. They don't get both, but she will then take over his benefit if it's higher, or vice versa. If hers was higher, he would take over hers if she passed away first. So anyway,
all the more reason to defer, especially if you have a stay-at-home.
Yes.
One of the spouses was a stay-at-home and has a small record.
And we are, while you're on that, we talked about doing this at the upcoming expo.
That's right, the Senior Expo.
Yes, the Senior Expo on February 23rd in conjunction with the Orlando Sentinel. We will be there live at the Orlando Convention Center. We'll be doing our show live. The first part of it from 9 to 10 o'clock is going to be a veterans panel. And all the veterans are entitled or welcome to come to that. It's going to be a presentation about what benefits are available to you, things you need to be aware of, things you might be missing out on. And then from 10 to 11, Gary and I, Rodney, and the other certified financial planners will be on a panel taking questions live from the audience, in addition to the folks calling in from around Central Florida. So,
and we should give a shout out to your son, who is a veteran of the Air Force, and he's going to be on the panel.
He will be on the panel.
Yep,
He's on the first part of the panel answering questions. So we invite you to come on down. That's February 23rd at the Orlando Convention Center. There's a lot of stuff being done in the Orlando Sentinel promoting that, and you'll hear of it on the radio. I believe there's some ads they're running here on WDBO. So come on down, meet Gary, me, Rodney, and all the other certified financial planners. And
is there a cost to that, Joe?
There is no cost.
Okay.
And
no
benefit,
cost.
And the benefit is we're going to be doing some Social Security projections, right, Gary? What are we going to do? That was your idea, so tell them what you're going to do.
Well, if folks can bring over their information on their Social Security benefit estimate, for both spouses, we'll be able to, right on the fly, give them a Social Security analyzer to let them know what is the best claiming strategy under different scenarios. Now, we can print off a one-page summary report, and I believe we can print off a 20-page deep dive. But for most people, I think just the summary page will be useful. And then if they have questions, they'll be welcome to follow up with a complimentary consultation at our office to do the the deep dive, so to speak.
And that'll be absolutely free. So come on down once again, February 23rd at the Orlando Convention Center. And it's not just us exhibiting. There's all kinds of folks doing all kinds of things for the 50-plus crowd. So Jody Murphy from Murphy Berglund will be there. She'll be on the panel, the veterans panel as well. In fact, I think her booth, if you will be right across from us in the expo area. So we look forward to seeing you February 23rd at the Orlando Convention Center. It's from 9 to 4. 9 to 4.
9 to 4. Mark
9
your
to 4.
calendars.
Yes.
February 23rd.
Yep.
All right. 844-220-0965 is the number to dial us up. Chuck and Longwood will be next. We also have some other callers behind them if you want to get behind them to make sure you get your question answered, because it's already 9:21. We've only got about 40 minutes left to answer all these questions. 844-220-0965. And we will continue to plan tomorrow.
Today.
Right after we get the 3 big things you need to know. Latest news, weather, and traffic here on WDBO, but we've still got 3 minutes to talk to you with the Certified Financial Group at 844-220-0965. Joe Burt, Gary Abley live here in the studio answering your phone calls like Chuck in Longwood. Chuck, go ahead. You're on with the panel.
Morning, Chuck.
Hi. Hi, guys. How are you?
Good. Great. What's up?
I've got a fairly large capital gain and thinking about investing in Opportunity Zone.
Okay.
What do you know about that?
I know it's part of the new tax act. I know that there are tax incentives to do that. I know that what I know is that there are certain areas that are carved out in certain cities that incentivize people to invest in redevelopment of those areas. You can postpone gains on property that you're about to sell, and you have to hold it for a number of years. I don't know the specifics. But it's an opportunity to defer taxes. But once again, like any investment, it's a function of the quality of the investment. I know there are tax benefits. What, Gary, you want to?
Well, Chuck, I was just going to ask you, what portion of your net worth were you thinking of investing in this one area?
Oh, I don't know. Percentage-wise, probably 25-30%.
All right. So I might say that's a little high. I would typically say when we look at, for example, mutual funds, we do a stock intersection report, and my goal is to see no more than 1.25% in one company. Now, with real estate, it depends. It depends on what your comfort level is with the location. But that sounds like an awful high percentage to allocate to that one investment.
Chuck, first of all, I'd want to know, is this something you're going to do on your own, or is something somebody's offering you an investment opportunity?
No, I may do it on my own. Under the current law, I can actually form my own fund,
right,
and proceed from there.
Okay. Right.
Which is extremely interesting to me.
Sure. If you've got, well, listen, there's no better.
It's the one way I could take my money out of the stock market and not have to reinvest it in the stock market, and still not have to pay my taxes for 7 years.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. There's no better investment than you can make, Chuck, than investing in yourself.
Right.
And if you have the skill to be a developer, that sounds like a great idea. Most people don't have that skill, but it's an opportunity for those folks that have the ability to be a developer and capitalize on that and defer taxes along the way. It could be a great idea for you.
All right. Well, Chuck, we thanks so much for the call. We're running up against the break here, the hard break here at 8. So, Chuck, hang online if you have any more questions. If not, we'll talk to you in the next time. And, of course, you can give the office a call on Monday. What's the number to do that, Joe?
407-869-9800.
And we will continue to plan tomorrow.
Today.
With the Certified Financial Group. Right here on News 96. Back. This is On the Money with the Certified Financial Group right here on News 96.5 WDBO. We've got the certified planning professionals at the Certified Financial Group here in our studio, ready, willing, and able to take your calls at 844-220-0965. Who is on the panel today? Well, of course, we've got the Oracle of Orlando, Joe Burt, alongside Gary Abley and Rodney Owenby. Joe, what can the audience call you about today in case they just tuned in for the latest news, weather, and traffic and said, what do you guys do?
Gary, Rodney, and I are here to take your calls regarding your personal finances. As we say, this is the only financial call-in show in Central Florida that's hosted exclusively by certified financial planner professionals. In our industry, unfortunately, anybody can call themselves a financial planner, a wealth manager, an investment advisor, whatever it might be. But certified financial planner is a distinction in our firm. We think it's the gold standard. There's about 80,000 certified financial planners around the country that have passed the rigorous 2-day exam, have college educations, a continuing code of ethics. What else do we have to do?
Oh, we have to act as fiduciaries.
Oh,
which
fiduciaries,
is probably the
yes.
most important thing, right?
That's it.
We've
That
got
is
to
it.
act in the client's best interest.
Thank you, sir.
So unlike brokers,
yes,
that's a big distinguishing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we work with our clients on a fiduciary level, which means that we put your interests first. We are on your side of the table. We do financial planning for a fee, and we are certified financial planners and darn proud of it. So that's my story this morning. I'm sticking to it.
All right.
A little bit later in the show, maybe we'll go into what CFEX certified
We could do that.
Yes, that's very important and very distinguished. But we've got phone callers today that have wanted to call up, talk to you guys today. And if you want to join them, it's 844-220-0965. Or you could text us your question to 21232. That's 21232. But Phil in DeBerry has been hanging on for a little while. Phil, go ahead. You're on with the Certified Financial Group.
Good morning, Phil.
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
My wife and I have been self-employed for approximately 15 years. Our business is a little physical, not too much, but we've been filing taxes jointly from the very beginning. And one thing we have not planned for that we've just run into, my wife has been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And hopefully not, but possibly will have to go on disability. We have been putting our Social Security, like I said, to filing jointly. Is that going to affect her negatively if she has to go on disability?
Well, does she have 10 years of work history that she has been paying Social Security taxes?
We've been paying together.
Wait.
Self-employed for 15 years. Before that, she was employed by doctors, and she had 10 plus years.
Okay, good.
So what will happen, Phil, is based on her earnings history, and you mentioned y'all have been self-employed. So I'm assuming maybe you filed a Schedule C and maybe filed that as a joint business. And if that is correct, then half of that self-employment tax paid will accrue to her, and of course half to you. That will be added to her work history, working for the doctor's office and other employers prior to that. And then they will calculate a Social Security disability amount. The average is around $1,200, but can go up to as high as approximately $2,900. And, of course, it'll depend on what that earnings history is. Now, the process is a real pain from what clients have shared with us. So my thought is if there is the possibility that she could be disabled, start getting your ducks in a row, because the process can take certainly a year, sometimes more than a year to be approved, if approved, and oftentimes you're not approved the first time. So medical records, will be key, and doctor's notes would be key. So, but hopefully, she finds some medicine that helps her be able to be more mobile, and it's not an issue.
One last question.
Sure.
So, from what I understand, you're saying even though we did not file Social Security separately, there won't be a difference.
Well, I'm not sure I understand. Your earnings history is based on each individual work history. So for the portion where you owned your own business, if that was filed as a joint sole proprietorship, it kind of sounds like an oxymoron, but you can be husband and wife can both get benefits if filed that way on Schedule C. So there's a little checkbox to put on that schedule, which says, you operated it as an individual or joint. And if it's joint, then you're going to have two Schedule SEs on your tax return. And that's a quick check, is go back to one of your prior returns. If you don't see two separate Schedule SEs, then you didn't do that jointly. And then you've got, potentially lower disability benefits, because then that earnings history would not have accrued to her, only the prior work history at the doctor's office and any other employers that she just worked at. Does that answer the question, Phil?
I think you answered it, so we need to look for the SE thing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Thanks for the call, Phil.
Thank you.
Thanks,
okay,
Phil.
good luck to you and your wife there. Yep.
All righty,
Thank
Phil. Thanks so much for the phone call. If you want Phil's line, it's 844-220-0965. That's 844-220-0965. Text machine's up and running as well, 21232. We do have a text in for the panel. I'm going to say when I reach age 66 instead of I reach. When I reach, remember, don't text and drive, people. When I reach age 66, can I have my Social Security 100% deposited into my Fidelity IRA and continue to work and deposit $26,000 into my 401k tax-free?
What do you say, Ronnie?
Yeah, I think you can do that. There are income limitations.
Wait, right. So the answer is kind of a yes and no. You can't put all of the Social Security into the IRA because you're likely to go above that $6,500. But the good news is if you're still working, you can contribute to the IRA and the 401k. Now, sometimes if you're making too much money, that IRA may not be deductible. Right. But you can still contribute to it. It'll become a non-deductible IRA if your income is too high. Something that a lot of people don't know, which is, I always like to say this when these questions come up, is, we have a lot of our clients like doing what they do. And so they're working beyond the age of 70, and which I think is great because the longer you work, the longer you live. Right.
Yeah,
so anyway.
No question about that.
Yeah. So the beauty of it is you can still contribute to what? A Roth IRA. Now, you will have to, when you're over 70 and a half, you'll have to start taking distributions from your IRA, even if you're working, but you are able to contribute to a Roth, which is kind of a neat thing.
And you're able to continue contributing to your 401k unless you're more than a 5% shareholder.
That's right. So
here's a strategery that I'm sure you've recommended to your clients as well.
Yes.
Is to, when you get to be close to that age, roll that IRA into your 401k.
That's exactly right. So then you don't have to take required minimum distributions. Yep. So you can even set up a solo 401k, right?
Yep. Yes, you can do that too. Yep.
So there's all kinds of neat tax tricks for those who want to save some money.
Strategery. Is that an official?
That's an official.
I've been listening to the radio a little bit too much, and I picked up these words that probably don't make sense to anybody else.
I love that word, though. Strategery.
It's going to be in the new Webster Dictionary.
Ever since George Bush said it in that debate on Saturday Night Live, played by Will Ferrell.
Yes, that's where it's. Yeah, he I guess George Bush never did say that, but Saturday Night Live did do that to George Bush.
Yes.
They live on forever.
Yeah, strategery.
Strategery. That's it.
And I love that word, too. It's totally made up. It makes no sense. But now that the Oracle of Orlando uses it, I feel more comfortable about myself using it.
Put it in the vernacular.
Yes.
There we
exactly.
go.
Well, if you want to ask the panel a question, 844-220-0965. And, of course, 21232 is the text line. And I know it is a cold January 26th morning here in Central Florida. And I know most people don't want to get out of bed. It's just too nice out. It's going to be a nice weekend. But, as tax time comes, you might want to keep that number in the back of your mind. And for everybody that might be thinking, I've got RMD.
Speaking of taxes there, Producer Breath.
Yes.
We had
Producer breath. That's a new one.
Director breaths. What?
In the
radio world, you are the producer, right?
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So producer breath. All right. 2 weeks ago, we talked about the elimination of the 1040A and the 1040EZ going out the window.
Yes.
And it's no longer around. One of our listeners, this is tremendous. She emailed me and she said. There is a new tax form coming out. You can't use it this year, but next year for the 2019 taxes called a 1040SR. That's for seniors.
Right.
Oh.
That's for seniors. And the idea, the 1040A and the 1040EZ, you couldn't, there were some certain things you couldn't put on there, like withdrawals from an annuity and Social Security and yes, certain kinds of things. But for those folks that'll be 65 years old this year, you can't use it this year, but for 2020, the 1040SR, look for it. It will make perhaps your tax filing just a little bit easier. So I want to thank our listener for that. We also always appreciate that input. We think we have all the answers, but we oftentimes don't.
Well, one of these days we'll have to have a call in for listener tips.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like
so
that.
we'll get some feedback from our listeners on some of the things they've learned over the years.
Well, you can always send us your listener tips to 21232, and that way we can read them out on the air. That's easy enough.
That's great. Or don't we have that open mic that somebody, if
you have the open mic on the News 96.5 app. You can do that. Just open up the News 96.5 app and click the open mic, and if you're recorded, it sends a little note ping to me here in the studio, and we'll play it on the air.
So if you don't want to listen to Strategery and us, do some open mic, and we'll play some of your tips.
I was gonna ask, because the 1040 easy and all that stuff, because the 1040 this year is just easier to navigate, right?
Well, honestly, there really weren't. If Brody and I would both agree as CPAs, there weren't that many changes. You have different tax rates. Yeah, you have a higher standard deduction, but you lose personal exemptions. Average family probably won't see much of a difference in taxes. A typical family maybe $1,200 to $1,800, but I wouldn't say that the tax forms are especially easy. We have not gotten to the postcard just yet.
No.
Yeah,
I think the big thing will be, though, is the larger standard deduction, where people spend half a day accumulating all the receipts from the goodwill and the charitable contributions and all that stuff. Right now, it's a flat $24,000 if you're married filing joint.
I agree with that. I just hope it doesn't hurt the charities in the process. That's the one thing I'm concerned about.
We will see. We will see. Yep.
Interesting. Okay. I'm looking at the clock here. Sheila and Claremont, hang on the line. You're going to be first up when we come back. We are up against the three big things you need to know. But, Joe, if they want to reach out during the week and give you guys a call or set up an appointment, what's the best way to do that?
The very best way to do that is go on the website. Go to financialgroup.com. Financialgroup.com. You can learn all about us, who we are, see our smiling faces. You can post questions there. You can make an appointment, learn all about the upcoming workshops that Gary's doing, which we can circle back to in just a minute. But Gary does tremendous jobs at these workshops, always has a full house. Gary is our in-house school teacher. He loves doing it.
Yes, I do.
No, he loves doing it, and he's very good at it. And he can, we'll talk about some of the workshops coming up as well. So I guess we're up against a break here.
We are. We will continue to plan tomorrow.
Today.
And take Sheila's call at 844-220-0965 or text us 21232. It is the final segment of On the Money here on with Certified Financial Group, January 26th. 2019. So it is the final segment. Last chance to get your question answered. 844-220-0965 with the certified planner professionals at the Certified Financial Group, the Oracle of Orlando, Joe Bird, alongside Gary Abley and Rodney Owenby. We have 3 planners today to get your question answered. So if you've been waiting too long, you're almost out of time. We are 5 minutes away from latest news, weather, and traffic at the end of the show. So let me get out the number one more time, 844-220-0965. Sheila in Claremont has been so patiently hanging on. Sheila, go ahead. You're on with the Certified Financial Group.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Sheila. What's up?
I just heard you guys talking about rolling over an IRA to a 401k to avoid RMD.
Yes.
I'm 70 years old.
Okay.
I have a simple IRA and a regular IRA.
Okay.
Can I set up at 70 a 401k, enroll them, and then can be able to avoid the RMD?
Well, chances are if you're talking about setting up your own 401k, you would be more than a 5% shareholder, so it doesn't work. But Sheila, I really like
Sheila, are you working, though, currently?
Yeah, I am.
Yes,
I do. Yes, but I'm self-employed.
Yes.
You're self-employed. Okay.
No, I love your creativity, Sheila. But
Joe, I don't like your answer.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The only way to do that is go to work for somebody where you're not more than a 5% shareholder, and then that works.
Right.
But no, it doesn't
Okay,
work.
get any jobs opening?
Give me a call. You never know, Sheila. I like your style. Yes.
Great. Okay, guys. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome, and thanks for the call.
Thanks.
Yeah, so there's no easy way around that, but she's trying.
Well, yeah, I mean, I like the creative thinking.
Yes.
I like the creative thinking. But those folks that are still employed over the age of 70 and you have that IRA out there, that is a strategery, right, Gary?
Yeah, that's right. If you're not more than 5% owner,
right?
Absolutely.
A 5% over the company. So, I mean, is there a minimum of or a maximum from income? So if you work 40 hours a week, 30 hours a week, 5 hours a week?
Well, generally you have to be in the 401k, and the 401k has limitations.
Usually 1,000
you have to
hours
be
or more.
considered a full-time employee,
Yep.
1,000 hours or more. Yeah.
Okay, so you do have to be a full-time employee.
Yeah, well, it's the
normal
definition
days.
of full time. It's not necessarily 40 hours a week. In some cases, it's 20 hours a week.
Right.
Yeah.
But full time in
Yes,
air quotes.
yep,
Gotcha. All right. Well, you know what? We're running out of show here. Joe, I think you got some. Not only do you do the radio show here, the Certified Financial Group has a great tool to teach everybody some great information around Central Florida. And those are called the workshops. Let's go through that calendar right now. Everybody pull out your phones, open up the calendar app, and punch these dates in so you can be informed by the Certified Financial Group right there at their own office.
So, Kyle, we have healthcare options in retirement where we talk about not only the Medicare A, B, C's, D's, E, F's, G's, et cetera, but also we talk about long-term care. And as I say, every element of a good financial plan must include a plan for long-term care. That doesn't mean insurance. It doesn't mean Medicaid. It doesn't mean counting on children. It might mean some of all of those things. But in any case, you need to have a long-term care plan. So we talk about that on March 23rd. And all of these, by the way, are held in our office on Saturdays from 9 to 11. They're 2 hours. We have a short break and we have some refreshments. This is my favorite workshop, Will Your Savings Last a Lifetime? So this one, everyone really should go to this before they say goodbye to their employer to make sure they have enough assets to at least have an 80% or more probability of not running out of money. That's really the threshold. What do you use, Joe, in your financial plans? I like to see an 80% success rate or more.
Yep.
Yeah, and so sometimes we'll play with the numbers and we'll say, well, gosh, if I use 3% inflation in my assumption, but I'll throw in 4 and do a what if scenario just to show, well, oops, now the probability drops down to sometimes 60% if inflation is 4%, and I go over the history, right? So if we go back and we look at the inflation over the last 50 years, we're actually closer to 4% than today's 2%. So we have to do a lot of what ifs. Then we've got one coming up in April 13th, again, 9 to 11, and that's Countdown to Retirement, steps you should be taking now prior to retiring. Then we've got one in May, that's May 18th, 9 to 11, everything you want to know about mutual funds. So for those who are do-it-yourselfers out there and want to make sure that they have a diversified portfolio, that they have proper asset allocation, that they understand when to be rebalancing and what sectors they should be invested in, that would be a great workshop for them.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of On the Money. We've been continuing to plan tomorrow.
Today.
And we will do that right here next Saturday, 9 a.m., right here on News 96.5 WDBO. Of the subjects discussed. Discussions and answers to questions do not involve the rendering of personalized investment advice, but is limited to the dissemination of general information. A professional advisor should be consulted before implementing any of the options presented. Certified Advisory Corp is registered as an investment advisor with the SEC and only in states where it is properly registered or is excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Information presented on